A special Moonshiners episode. Digger and his fellow distillers wish you a happy moonshine. The air is thick with anticipation as the camera zooms in on a smoky, rustic Appalachian distillery, the kind that's been a staple of history and tradition in the United States. It's a special episode of Discovery Channel's Moonshiners, and this one is unlike any other. It's not just about making liquor or evading the law. This episode is about celebration, camaraderie, and a bit of Southern flair. In this 3,000-word piece, we delve into the intricacies of the special Moonshiners episode, where Digger and his crew of distillers raise a glass to the craft and wish their loyal fans a heartfelt, happy moonshine, setting the stage. The sound of crackling wood, the rhythmic thud of mallets, and the familiar clink of steel tools resonate through the damp mountain air. It's another episode of Moonshiners, but today feels different. The special episode opens with a nod to the show's history, a kind of homage to the years of making moonshine under the radar of the law. The famous Appalachian Hills, with their rolling greens and veiled mist, set the scene for the stars of the show: Digger, Tim, and their fellow distillers, who have transformed the art of moonshining from an outlaw craft to a celebrated one. But this episode isn't focused on smuggling. No, this time it's all about appreciation, pride, and a well-deserved acknowledgement of the hard work and determination that goes into crafting moonshine. For many viewers, it's a unique treat. A full hour of distilling wisdom, humor, and a genuine celebration of the bond between the distillers and their craft. In an almost ceremonial manner, Digger, the fan-favorite distiller with his signature beard and broad smile, begins the episode standing next to his copper still. The gleaming metal shines in the dimming daylight, just like the distillery's legacy. "Well, folks," Digger says with a twinkle in his eye, "this here is no ordinary batch of moonshine. We're gonna take a step back and show y'all what makes the craft so special, and we're gonna do it with some of our best shine yet." The camera zooms in, and we get a closer look at the ingredients: corn, sugar, and yeast. The simplicity of it all. But there's a level of expertise and artistry that turns these humble ingredients into something extraordinary. The craft of moonshine, more than just alcohol. Digger and his crew, who have spent years working together in the hills of Appalachia, begin to share their insights into the craft of moonshining. For many, the idea of making moonshine conjures up images of bootleggers and black market booze. However, the special episode takes a deeper dive into the history, heritage, and community behind the practice. It's about tradition. Digger explains, "Moonshining has been in these mountains for generations. It's not just about making something to drink. It's about passing on knowledge, keeping our history alive, and making sure the craft doesn't die." As the camera pans across Digger's distillery, we hear the faint sound of a fiddle in the background, subtle, yet indicative of the region's rich culture. The episode emphasizes how the process of distilling is intertwined with Appalachian identity, weaving together the legacy of family, music, and the land itself. While moonshine often gets a bad rap, the episode highlights the craftsmanship behind it. Digger and his fellow distillers are not mere lawbreakers. They are artisans, each with their own unique touch. Some favor a sweeter shine, while others prefer a stronger, more potent kick. The flavor profiles are as varied as the personalities of the people making it. This special episode of Moonshiners invites viewers to see the distillers in a new light, as stewards of tradition and masters of their craft. A toast to fellow distillers. The episode takes a brief detour as Digger and his crew prepare for a celebration, a festival of sorts where they meet other local distillers from around the region. Digger grins. "We're not just sharing moonshine with y'all today. We're sharing the love of the craft." We've invited some of our distilling buddies to join us for this special episode. It's gonna be one big moonshine family reunion. The scene shifts to a rustic barn, decorated with handmade signs and local artwork, where the distillers mingle. There's laughter, handshakes, and plenty of clinking glasses. Digger raises his own jar of moonshine to the crowd. Here's to the tradition we're all proud of, he says. A toast to moonshine and all those who keep it alive. A montage follows, showing brief moments of other distillers sharing their stories, from those who learned the craft from their grandparents to those who picked it up out of necessity during hard times. Their passion for the craft is evident, and the episode highlights how moonshine, despite its illicit past, is now celebrated for its craftsmanship and the camaraderie it fosters. As Digger they greet each distiller with a friendly handshake and some good-natured banter. "What are you calling this batch?" Digger asks one of his fellow distillers. The man, with a grin as wide as the horizon, replies, "Moonshine's love potion. Made with love, and a whole lot of corn." The two laugh, their faces glowing with the warmth of friendship, the shared history of the craft, and the understanding that their work goes beyond just making a living. It's about creating something that brings people together. A nod to the fanon of the most touching elements of the episode is how Digger and the other distillers acknowledge the fans of the show. The camera zooms in on Digger's face as he raises a glass and says, "We've been fortunate enough to share this journey with y'all. We want to say thank you to the fans who've been watching us for years and supporting the show. This episode's For You special episode is peppered with messages to the fans. Short interviews with viewers from across the country, expressing how Moonshiners has touched their lives. Whether it's a young viewer who started learning the craft after watching the show, or an older fan who remembers the history of moonshining from their own family, the connection between the show and its audience is clear. It's more than just entertainment for us, one fan says on screen. It's a chance to see the kind of hard work and passion that goes into something like moonshine. It's about respect, respect for the craft, respect for the people who make it, and respect for the traditions that come with it." As Digger listens, he nods thoughtfully. "That's exactly right," he says. "Without y'all, we wouldn't have this. So this one's for the fans too." A big cheers to you, the distillers gather around a bonfire, their faces illuminated by the dancing flames. They share stories and jokes, laughter echoing through the night air. The sense of community is palpable as everyone, distillers and fans alike, shares in the celebration of moonshine. The legacy of moonshine toward the end of the episode. Digger takes a moment to reflect on the legacy of moonshining and what it means to him personally. "Moonshine has been a part of my life for as long as I can remember," he says. "It's not just about making a good batch. It's about carrying the torch for those who came before us." He walks over to a weathered photo hanging on the wall of his distillery. It shows a man, his grandfather, perhaps, standing in front of an old copper still. Digger's voice softens. "My grandfather used to make this stuff back in the day, just like many others around here. And I remember him saying, 'You don't just make moonshine, son. You make history.' And that's stuck with me ever since." As Digger finishes his reflection, the camera pulls back to show the surrounding hills. The sun has set, and the stars are beginning to twinkle in the sky, casting a serene glow over the land. The special episode ends with a final toast to the craft, the community, and the generations that have kept the tradition alive. "Happy moonshine, y'all," Digger says with a wink. Conclusion: this special Moonshiners episode is a beautiful, heartfelt tribute to a craft that's both rich in history and alive with new energy. From the distillers' personal stories to their recognition of the fans, the episode weaves together the threads of community, tradition, and pride. Digger and his fellow distillers don't just make moonshine. They make connections, share knowledge, and preserve the legacy of a craft that has been passed down through the generations. As the screen fades to black and the credits roll, viewers are left with a sense of warmth, a sense that they've not just watched an episode of Moonshiners, but have been invited into a family, a history, and a craft that is as enduring as the hills themselves. Cheers to the moonshine, and cheers to the people who make it.